All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. For you olds in the chat, you may have recognized that song. Good morning. It's a little Easter egg for you, Gen Z. Go Google it or Shazam it or whatever you got to do there. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday, February 14th, 2025. This is episode 814 of your Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, two thumbs, all smiles, Dr. Gerald, Auger, and over the next hour, me, you, Color Me Bad, DJ B-Sec behind the glass, Kayla, Carrie, Nerman, Toasty Pops, Port Zero, Mando, Jared, guys, Jeremy, Bethamon, Paul, Augusta Delgado, Cupid. We are all going to be shredding the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, and I'll be giving my expert opinion and analysis on each of those stories, on what it means to you as a practitioner. So how can you use this information to drive cyber risk reduction down for your business stakeholders in a deliberate, informed way? And if you're looking to break into the industry, you're going to be asked in any job interview, how do you stay current on the industry? This right here, my friend, is a banger of an answer. And whether you're a first-timer, a long-timer, an old or a new, the networking and the community that is the hashtag Team SC Simply Cyber community is absolutely aces. So get in here, friends. Say hello. Good morning to everybody. We got a great show for you today. I want you to know, if you didn't already, the stories we're going to go over, I did not research or prep for any of them.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. We're practitioners. We get in, we consume the information, we make our opinions and informed assessments, and then we move forward. And that's what we do every day here on the show. I'm super excited. Remember, today is Friday, so if you're looking for a little rib tickling, our very own James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet live in chat. Say hello to him at James McQuiggan. He is going to be giving us his dad jokes of the day. A couple of funny ones. I'm sure they're going to be Valentine's Day themed or, romantic themed in general. So we got that for you as well. Now, before we get into it, let me run a couple ads. Let the sponsors pay the bills. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you how this show can absolutely solve your CPE problems. So say good morning, everyone. I'm going to jump in chat myself as the ads roll. Let's go. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. ThreatLocker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Hero support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com. What's up, Simply Cyber? You know what keeps CISOs up at night? The unknown. Those exposed assets and leaked creds floating around the dark web that you don't even know about? Well, that's where Flare steps in. Think of Flare as your organization's amazing threat hunting capability, continuously scanning both clear and dark web for exposed enterprise assets, leaked secrets, and even compromised credentials being sold in private channels. Their cutting-edge platform, powered by transparent, generative AI, prioritizes real threats so your team can take immediate action. Stop playing catch-up with threat actors. Get ahead with Flare's threat exposure management capability. Don't take my word for it. Visit try.flare.io/simplycyber and try it for yourself. Do you want cutting-edge, high-quality cybersecurity education, regardless of financial position? Check this out. I want to give some love and some praise to Antisyphon Training, powered by Black Hills Information Security. Antisyphon Training is absolutely disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by providing high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position. They bring industry professionals with years and years of experience into the classroom to teach you and anyone else who's interested practical skills that are in demand in the market today. And on top of that, the student experience is amazing, as you and hundreds or thousands in some instances of other students are actively engaging, networking, sharing tips, tricks, and experiences with each other, all live in the classroom. Go to antisyphontraining.com, check out their course calendar to see what courses they have coming up next. You won't regret it. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Love engaging with everybody in chat. Carrie's got the jokes. We got Wayne Shaw over on LinkedIn cracking up over here. Charlie McBeams. Love it, guys. Hey, every single episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, including this one, is worth half a CPE. So say what's up in chat, just like all these other Simply Cyber community members like Marcus Kyler and Carrie Mando. Guys, if you're over on LinkedIn and it says unknown, that doesn't mean you're an unknown. It just means LinkedIn can't tell who you are. So say what's up and make sure you add your name. That way you can get credit for it. But basically, you see how Kevin C did it right here in Savage Fit. Just say good morning and grab a screenshot of your name on stream. That's why I put it right there. And you'll be able to have a piece of evidence showing that you were here at this instructor-led webinar on cybersecurity content, which is basically how you qualify for that half a CPE. Screenshot every single day. We do it every weekday morning. We've done it for 814 days, weekdays in a row, guys. And, we'll be back Monday to keep the train rolling. You can get up to 120 CPEs a year. Well more than enough for what any certification body is going to ask you to maintain. So get your CPEs here. Of course, it is Friday. Don't forget, on Fridays, we do panel jaw jacking. So we've got a great panel lined up for you as well for all your Q&A efforts. And later today at 1 p.m., Chris Whitlock, please confirm. At 1 p.m., we actually have the private Discord AMA, very much like jaw jacking, except it's in Discord and it's not recorded or televised. So you can ask a little bit more on the questions. Again, thank you to Flair. Thank you to Threat Locker. Thank you to Antisyphon. And thank you to Barricade. We'll hear from them at the mid-roll. Guys, do me a favor. Whoops. James McQuiggan.
We just become best friends. Yep.
James McQuiggan. It's been a wild and crazy week. 3 conferences, 3 presentations, 1 in the mountains, 1 in the ocean, 1 in the desert. Look forward to seeing Team SC in Orlando next week. Coffee Cup. Cheers. Thanks for the super chat, James McQuiggan. And I'm also excited. I got to tell everybody really quickly, low-key, Zero Trust World's kind of blowing up into a Team SC event. There's a lot of people going to be there. I just found out this morning that Jack Scott, Eric McDuffie, 2 cyber chicks will be there. Dennis Keefe, Marcus Kyler, myself, Josh Mason, Kimberly Can Fix It, FedEx, James McQuiggan, and so many more. So we are actually planning an official Team SC event on Wednesday next week in Orlando. If you are around, we'd love to see you. I'll be hosting it, so if you want some drinks on the community, definitely take advantage of that. Details in the con chat on the Discord server. So you've got to join the Discord server, !Discord in chat. But now it's time to get to work, everybody. Sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news on this Valentine's Day get us going.
On the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Friday, February 14th, 2025. I'm Steve Prentice. U.S. lawmakers demand UK retraction of Apple backdoor. Senators Ron Wyden and Andy Biggs are urging newly appointed National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard to push the United Kingdom to revoke its order requiring Apple to grant government access to encrypted user data. They warn that the directive threatens Americans' privacy and suggested that, if the UK refuses to back down, the US should reconsider its deep intelligence sharing ties with its ally. The confidential British order compels Apple to create a backdoor into its advanced data protection system, which encrypts iCloud stored data so securely that even Apple cannot access it. Authorities argue that this hinders investigations into terrorism, child exploitation, and other serious crimes. The U.S. lawmakers' appeal highlights growing tensions over encryption, privacy, and government surveillance, with potential implications for international cybersecurity cooperation.
All right. So a couple things here. Number one, Apple is a private business in the United States. Many of us are well aware of Apple. I mean, they're like a Fortune 5 company. And there has been multiple instances, famously the San Bernardino shooter and his phone, and the FBI wanted Apple to put a backdoor in, and Apple, they almost went all the way to the Supreme Court. Yeah, for sure. Brews and hacks. It'll be family friendly, of course. Yeah, and we could talk about that at jaw jacking. So anyways, there's been precedent set before where they try to get a backdoor into the Apple devices. Now it says Apple iCloud, which is different than your Apple iPhone, but it's all kind of like entangled with each other. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court, but the FBI actually pulled out simply because they actually found an Australian guy who could hack the iPhone, and they got through it and they didn't need it. But I mean, Apple was like going to go to the mattresses for this. So now the UK is asking Apple to do this and putting pressure on them. Two things. One, I find this incredibly wild. First of all, UK, I know they're not part of the European Union anymore because of Brexit, but like Europe and that kind of space, they're like super forward on privacy, I thought, GDPR and such. So it's weird to see them doing that. Second of all, what are you talking about? Like, this is a foreign country demanding a private company in a different country comply with their orders. So what does that mean? Like, can the United States tell some, like, I don't know, like Israeli-based company like NSO Group to put a backdoor into their software? Like, does that even make any sense? Like, I don't understand what leg the UK is standing on here in order to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, force or compel Apple to do this for them. I mean, at least when it was the FBI, it was like US on US action, right? But this, it's like, now, I mean, I guess the UK could flex a little bit and be like, oh, you can't sell Apple products in the UK. But like, I think people honestly would like flip out. The citizens would flip out if the United Kingdom's government was like, no Apple products, because Apple's got such a foothold in here. Second of all, this will be an interesting opportunity to see how the United States, Tulsi Gabbard in her new position and these senators and lawmakers handle a situation like this. To me, from a cybersecurity perspective, if there is a backdoor implemented, and I mean, this is an argument as old as time. Like, they'll say organized crime uses these devices, sexual predators use these devices in order to hide their activities and make it difficult for law enforcement to catch them, which is true. But at what cost are you willing to give up your own, privacy in order to force that type of behavior to be, captured? And the argument, just so we're all clear, the argument is once you put this in place, it can be weaponized and abused. And you can say, oh, we have all the checks in place, all the watchers, all the oversight. But there have been numerous instances in history of law enforcement abusing their access for personal gain of solutions like this. For example, like I could pull one up, but an example that's like a simple case study would be a law enforcement individual who suspects their spouse of cheating, or they're going through a messy divorce and they're trying to figure out to get some dirt on their the person they're going against, or they're suing somebody, like that type of personal gain. Also, once you introduce this, it's a technical element. So get the security researchers on it. If the capability is there, a security researcher could also discover it, and then you've got all your encryption. Well, not your encryption, but like your encrypted data is exposed potentially. So all I would say for practitioners is keep an eye on this. If Apple introduces a backdoor magic key that goes into iCloud backups, it will make major news. And all you would want to do is educate your end users or make a policy decision at your organization, if they are using Apple devices to hold corporate data, that it cannot be stored in iCloud. You'd have to do the risk assessment. GRC Mafia, where you at? You'd have, like, literally, this is why GRC exists. You would have to do a risk assessment of what kind of data is stored in that iCloud. What is the likelihood of it being exploited through this backdoor? And, what's the impact if it does get exploited? And if it's not a big deal, well, there you go. Everybody go. And if it is a big deal, you write a policy that says don't use it.
Sarcoma ransomware claims breach at giant circuit board maker Unimicron. This breach is the handiwork of a relatively new operation with the delightful name of Sarcoma. The group has claimed responsibility for an attack against Unimicron, a Taiwan-based manufacturer of printed circuit boards, otherwise known as PCBs. The group has already published samples of files allegedly stolen from the company's systems with a threat to leak everything next week if no ransom is paid. The group claims
Well, hold on. Misfire here.
to have 377 gigabytes of SQL files belonging to the Taiwanese company. Unimicron is one of the largest PCB manufacturers in the world, with plants and service centers in Taiwan, China, Germany, and Japan. Its products are extensively used in LCD monitors, computers, peripherals, and smartphones.
All right. Is PCP angel dust? Is that what that was back in the day? I can't remember. Not that I like ever used it, but it like that was like I haven't thought about that in 20 years. It really is a throwback Friday here with Color Me Bad and like, you know, whatever, designer drugs. So sarcoma ransomware. If you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm such an imposter. I've never heard of sarcoma ransomware. I hope nobody realizes I've never heard of them before. Well, welcome to the party, pal. I also have never heard of sarcoma ransomware. So they crop up, you know, ransomware variants crop up all the time. Keep an eye out for Flaming Donkey, another ransomware threat actor group that's been out there, yet to show up in MITRE ATT&CK, but we are talking about Flaming Donkey here. So they are super, super good at discretion. I think the real interesting thing here is that this major circuit board maker in Taiwan has had it looks like their intellectual property stolen, which I think is more valuable than, say, like, I don't know, like a manufacturing company. Well, not a manufacturing company, like a retail company getting hit or, you know, something like that. Like this is like what they use to make money. Now it says 377 gigs of SQL files, which is kind of funny because okay, this is one of those ones. Please, you know, I am very community focused and I love the community and delivering value. But every once in a while, I do like to take a moment and embellish my own personal idiosyncrasies. And if you've been a regular of the show for a long time, you know that I do this from time to time. As far as I know, I hate to be such a donk about this, but like, I don't know. I never really think of it as SQL files. SQL is the query language to interact with databases. As far as I know, there's no SQL file, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's been a minute, but like there's .db, there's database files, there's Postgres, there's SQL Server, there's my access, right? There's tons of database file types and databases, but SQL is a language. Again, I guess you could write an SQL file that was like a script. Right? Yeah, like you would save them as a script. So here's my thing. If this is SQL files, like a script of SQL commands, that's way less valuable than the actual data in the database. Now, you can use the SQL interpreted files as meta to see what the database file names are and stuff like that. But this wouldn't be the data. Okay, so let me just touch on that, right? So, okay, let's look at this. Looks like they have a nice landing page for their leak site. This is classic. If you're not familiar, this is kind of like what leak sites look like. Here's the victim. Here's how many people have looked at it. Yeah, thank you. Justin Gold just put this in. SQL file is a script file of a SQL server that contains all the commands of a particular database. So there is a SQL file. So I'm correct. I'm being corrected on that, and thank you. But normally, when you say 377 gigs of you would think data, not the commands that interact with the file, right? Anyways, this is a leak site. Just so you're familiar with leak sites, they are designed to make the victim sweaty as far as like, oh my God, look how many people are looking at my data potentially. There's a countdown timer. This is like basic, shady marketing 101. They're trying to compel you with urgency and like your data is going to get taken. So if you're ever hit with a ransomware threat actor, chances are you're going to, be on a leak site like that. All right. This happened on February 1st, so this is actually an old story. Okay. All right, here's the deal, guys. Same. I should make a video to just play the video every time I say this. Standard practice, whether it's Sarcoma ransomware or Flaming Donkey ransomware, make sure you're doing tabletop exercises. Make sure that your processes for preventing ransomware from detonating your environment is good, and also that you're resilient to be able to continue business operations in the event that you do have a ransomware attack. As always, make sure you're doing tabletops with the business and the executive people. Don't just say the data gets encrypted. What do we do? Throw at them, hey, our systems work fine. Nothing was encrypted, but we just got notified that all of our data was exfiltrated and for sale. What do we want to do, executive team?
Ransomware attack disrupts Michigan's Sioux tribe operations. A ransomware attack on the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa in Michigan has severely disrupted critical services.
All right, hey, we do need to get an answer on this. Reed Hurlbert says, I could be wrong, but exporting a SQL database to a SQL file could hold all the data to create the table and insert commands to get the new database up and running. So let me know, everybody, if we can. This is one of those ones, it's like, I feel like the SQL file is kind of like a fringe thing that you don't really interact with very often. So can we get a confirmation if a SQL file would have the data of the database in it, or if it's just kind of the meta of the commands to interface with the database? I'm curious on that one.
Including health centers, businesses, and casinos. Tribe Chairman Austin Lowe's stated that the incident began Sunday morning, affecting multiple computer and phone systems across tribal administration. As a result, many departments and businesses were forced to close temporarily. While officials hope to resolve the issue within a week, they are prepared for a longer recovery. The attack has had a particularly devastating impact on the tribe's health division, affecting essential services for its 44,000 members in Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
Okay, so that's interesting. And if you're in the UP, I know Marcus Kyler is part of the Michigan crew. Oh my God. Pamela is part of the Michigan crew. This is up in the UP. The Chippewa Indians. So interesting that they're getting hit with ransomware. Again, you got to remember, ransomware threat actors don't give a damn about you or who they hit. They'll hit healthcare. They'll hit a casino. They'll hit a school. They don't care. What they care about?
Straight cash, homie.
Care about straight cash, homie. Now, this one knocked out most of their critical services. They do talk about a casino getting hit, which I was like, okay, so like, what's the big deal? But really, I'm by no means am I well informed on the way that Native Americans and these tribes run their tribal spaces in the United States. I've never really interacted with them. I know it's quite big up in like the South Dakota, North Dakota, like that region of the country. But it would appear that the tribe itself has IT infrastructure that manages all the parts of the tribe based on this story. So the casino, their health centers, and various businesses have been impacted. And guys, I got to tell you, this is really no different. What's up, Cybertrucker? Good to see you. This is really no different than an MSP providing IT infrastructure to a bunch of different businesses. It's just that the different businesses the MSP are providing are all supporting the same community. So that's a key difference. And I do want to point out that this is essentially one of those situations where here's the deal. You've got to do kind of a risk analysis. And I love myself some GRC, everybody, GRC Mafia. But the deal is, if you go wide and you have a lot of different SaaS providers, and you have more of a heterogeneous infrastructure, then when you suffer, like when one of your supply chains, one of your vendors, one of whatever, suffer a impact of a ransomware style or some other kind of impact, it doesn't cripple you. Now, on the other side of it, if you go with more of a homogeneous IT infrastructure where everybody's using the same, it's very clean because you have like straight lines of communication. It's very easy because you kind of use the same tech stacks and everybody can kind of share and move quicker. but you introduce this risk where if you get slapped or your supply chain gets hit, the impact is higher and greater. So it really becomes this formulaic, calculation of, do we want it, easier, faster, and smoother, but we accept the risk that if that one thing gets hit, we're screwed? Or do we introduce more complexity, more burden, more, channels of communication, but we reduce the impact when a situation occurs? And obviously I'm oversimplifying this because there's a lot of variables that go into calculating that, including
Straight cash, homie.
right. You can get a discount if you do bulk pricing, right? Like, oh, hey, MSP, what if I gave you 30 businesses to manage? Can we get a discount? Yeah, sure. I'd love to give you a discount, right? So these are the things, but you've got to be mindful of that risk. So I hope to goodness that this victim, frankly, gets sorted out, and off and running. Like, and this is an interesting difference between these two ransomware stories. And actually, this is a perfect. This perfectly highlights the variety of ransomware victim impacts. This one, this circuit board manufacturer, their data got stolen, but they're still printing circuit boards. This one, this tribe, they got hit with ransomware, but it was more of the encrypt all your stuff ransomware, and they are completely down right now, which is bad.
Thanks to today.
Oh, hold on. I'm getting some updates here. Thank you, everybody in chat who's sharing your thoughts on SQL stuff. DJ BSEC puts here, if the SQL file contains insert statements, it's likely a database dump, which can be used to restore data. And you can export database schemas and data into SQL files using these type of commands. So yes, and thank you, Reed Hurlbert, Black Badge Carrier. The data could include data, and 377 gigs of data in a text file. That's a lot of data.
This episode's sponsor, Vanta. Do you know the status of your compliance controls right now? Like right now?
Oh my gosh.
We know that real-time visibility is critical for security, but when it comes to our GRC programs, we rely on point-in-time checks. But more than 9,000 companies have continuous visibility into their controls with Vanta. Vanta brings automation to evidence collection across over 35 frameworks like SOC 2 and ISO 27001. They also centralize key workflows like policies, access reviews, and reporting, and helps you get security questionnaires done 5 times faster with AI. Now that's a new way to GRC. Get started today at vanta.com/headlines. That is vanta.com/headlines.
All right. Thank you, Vanta, the CISO series sponsor, Vanta. All right, let's do this. All right, look at us just crushing this day. What's up, Alpha Sierra's in the house? Good to see you. Guys, love it, love it, love it. Thank you all so very much for being here on this Friday, Valentine's Day. The coffee's percolating, the community's popping, and Alpha Sierra Drum Major is leading us off on great day. Thank you to the stream sponsors, Antisyphon, ThreatLocker, Flare, and Barricade Cyber Solutions. Guys, Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated. Hold on, let me get the ad read. Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated to helping businesses from cyber attacks and, more importantly, recover from the damage done. Cyber attacks can cause massive issues for businesses and send dedicated, hardworking business owners into turmoil. But Eric Taylor and the team at Barricade Cyber Solutions knows how to mitigate the damage done by cyber incidents. Believe that. They have helped many, many businesses across different verticals recover and get back up to normal business operations. You can go to Barricade Cyber right now, barricadecyber.com right now, and schedule a meeting with Eric Taylor. You want to get an introduction? Boom. It's one click away. You are up and running. Don't go alone into a compromise. Get help from seasoned pros, barricadecyber.com. Guys, I want to say shout out and thanks to all you. Everybody that's here on the regular, FedEx, Mariana Albright, Jay Crypto, Cybercycle, Tim McDonald. Love it, love it, love it. Guys, I genuinely appreciate it. It's big ups. Love the community. It's crazy to think we've been doing this for a couple years. It's so awesome. All right, guys. Every single day of the week has a special segment, and today is Friday, Dad Joke Friday from James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet. Here we go. What did the painter tell his girlfriend? What did the painter tell his girlfriend? He said, baby, I love you with all my art. Ugh. I love you with all my art, the painter told his girlfriend. Why shouldn't you fall in love with a pastry chef? Hey, guys, be careful. I'm serious. James McQuiggan wants you to know, don't fall in love with a pastry chef. They will absolutely desert you. All right. And finally, what's the one flower you should never, ever give on Valentine's Day? Guys, James McQuiggan's been married for a long time. He's got a lot of experience in the love department, and he is telling you the one flower you should never, ever give on Valentine's Day is cauliflower. All right. All right. James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet, tickling our ribs, making us slap our knees. Thank you, James McQuiggan. As always, we're having a good time here, in addition to bringing the hot news to you every single day. So as we let these jokes roll over us in an awesome wave, we're going to ask Alpha Sierra and others who enjoy it to lead us off with the la 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 la's. Finish this week strong. Remember, we got jaw-jacking panel at the end. But right now, we got our la 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 la's. Let's go, Alpha Sierra. Drum major. All right, let's finish strong, y'all.
Russian threat actor Seashell Blizzard enlists Specialist Initial Access subgroup. According to a new report from Microsoft, the group, once known for attacks mostly on Ukraine and countries in Eastern Europe, is now setting its sights on high-value targets globally, especially in the UK, the US, Canada, and Australia. Its Specialist Initial Access subgroup takes advantage of vulnerabilities in remote access technologies, including ConnectWise, Screen Connect, and Fortinet FortiClient software. The Microsoft report states that the subgroup, quote, discovers vulnerabilities in internet-facing infrastructure through direct scanning and the use of third-party internet scanning services and knowledge repositories, end quote. This is done with the goal of establishing long-term persistence on the affected systems.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm sure, right? I mean, Russia looks over at China and Volt Typhoon is like, wow, it's pretty good. Flax Typhoon, damn, you guys are good. Getting into critical infrastructure, getting into the telecoms. Hold my beer, Russia says. Guys, here's the deal. The actual story here, right? Obviously, there's 2 points here. I shouldn't say obviously, but there's 2 points here. Number one, for practitioners, if you are leveraging RMMs or remote management access solutions, right? I forget what the acronym RMM stands for, but basically like AnyDesk, TeamViewer, LogMeIn, Avanti, like any of these remote access solutions, you got to remember it can be weaponized and abused by threat actors. And if there's exploitation capabilities, they will get exploited. We saw, what is it? What was the one recently that got popped pretty bad? Was it ScreenWise? Anyways, so here's the deal. First of all, practitioners, you should, if you're a business and you're doing things in-house, you should absolutely have at least one approved solution for remote accessing for IT, okay? Now, why do I say you should have one? Because the use case of remote access for administration is well established, right? So if you don't have a solution that's approved and communicated out, guess what's going to happen? IT people, power users, Carl in accounting, they're going to choose their own adventure and potentially have this kind of like tech sprawl of attack surface that you don't know about and you can't manage. So if you have an approved solution, what's up, VJ Money? Good to see you. If you have an approved solution, then you could say, hey, whoa, what are you doing? Like, don't use that. Use the approved solution, first of all. Second of all, if you basically should make sure that whatever solution you are using, that you're keeping up to date on, basically are there security vulnerabilities associated? You gotta patch it. Make sure you're patching it. Yeah, I think it's ConnectWise. Okay, so that's what practitioners need to do, all right? We don't need Daniel Lowry exploiting our remote access solutions for his pen testing engagements or his red teaming. Daniel Lowry, he's a gentle man, but he will pop your remote access solutions. So that's number one. Number two, and this is more of like big brain stuff, kind of meta of our industry. The idea of specializations within the ecosystems is not new, especially initial access brokers. So initial access brokers will absolutely, basically do the phishing, do the landing pages, harvest credentials, whatever. They will do this and then they'll sell it because why wouldn't they sell it? It's all about money, right? Cash money, homie. So
Straight cash, homie.
You should not be surprised by this. First of all, it's been going on. Just like there's ransomware experts and there's negotiating experts and there's people who can do the Bitcoin transactions experts, right? There's like specialists. This is no different than being like the IT guy and you're also responsible for security and you do all the things like you talk to the business, you educate the people, you look at the SIM, you deploy MFA, you're doing all those things. But guess what? If you were able to hire a Wade Wells to come in and just look at the SIM and look for bad on your network and do threat hunting because he's a specialist, then you're like, okay, that's taken care of. I can go over and focus on GRC, which is, it's Valentine's Day. I'm going to lean into my love, GRC, while Wade Wells takes care of that crap over there. So we on the good guy side or the good person side, team, good, we are specializing and having specialists do specialist things. So obviously, as expertise gets better and skills get more refined, you're going to have specializations on the threat actor side. So this really shouldn't come as any surprise. I do want to tell you, as an example, if you're looking for an example of this that's a bit more, I guess, easier to communicate and one that you can bust out in a job interview because it's going to resonate no matter what. Like this one, if you're like interviewing for a job at like whatever, I don't know, a manufacturing company or a transportation company in Houston, they might be like, I don't really think like Russia's coming after us. So that's cool that you know about that, but it doesn't really slap. Let me tell you this one. This one will be a good one. Okay. This was a story recently, okay? But it's a perfect example, all right? This one, basically the SEC Twitter account got hacked, and then it doesn't matter that it was a SIM swap attack to get the multi-factor token. What's important is the SEC Twitter account got hacked, and some threat actors were able to like basically send out a fraudulent message through the official SEC Twitter account and got Bitcoin to pump, at which point they dumped, made their money, and went on. But the threat actors who made the money off the Bitcoin pump and dump were not the same threat actor that got the initial access to the Twitter account. That person's actually going to jail. Yay.
Regulators, mount up.
but this is an example of initial access broker. Basically, the person who's going to jail is the one who did all the work to do the SIM swap and get the Twitter account for the SEC, and then they sold that to a threat actor to do whatever they want, right? So this is, to me, this is a much cleaner one because most businesses are going to have social media presence, whether it's Twitter or X or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. They have social media. So this is a much more relatable story.
Final draft malware uses Microsoft API for espionage through Windows and Linux. Threat hunters at Elastic Security Labs are watching a campaign currently focusing on, quote, the foreign ministry of an unnamed South American nation with bespoke malware capable of granting remote access to infected hosts, end quote. This group has also targeted a telecommunications organization and a university, both located in Southeast Asia. The procedure involves the execution of a malware named Path Loader that makes way for an encrypted shellcode named Final Draft, and is subsequently injected into the memory of a newly spawned mspaint.exe process and works on Windows and Linux systems. The researchers believe that this campaign is built for espionage.
No, say it ain't so. Did you guys hear that? It was quick, but the threat actor has developed a technique that will inject a malicious process or malicious code into MS Paint. MS Paint, that's like calculator. Like there's certain apps that are just off limits. What are you doing, threat actors? First you're infecting me with like remote access capabilities and doing espionage, but Microsoft Paint? Oh man, say it ain't so. Wait, I don't want that one. Hold on.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You know what's funny is I can't misfire a sound effect on the soundboard because it brings up a graphic, and if I don't do it, it won't pull the graphic down. It says Linux. Yeah, I know, ZMF. It says Linux, but they mention MS Paint in the story, so I don't know what it is. Here's what I will say. This one looks very complicated. They are targeting a South American nation, so this is more APT, state-on-state action, and doesn't mean that your business can't get impacted, but it's definitely for espionage. I do want to point out one important thing, but it's more like bigger picture. So let me see if I can get something out of this for you guys to protect yourself. All right, so if you're doing threat hunting, look for cert util, used for downloading. Okay, now cert util is a native Windows binary. Again, I don't know why the story says Linux yet, because so far we're not doing anything Linux here. But I do want to call your attention to this. If you didn't know, now you know. Living off the land is a technique that you will learn about in any offensive security class. Living off the land, fun fact, Daniel Lowry's middle name is actually living off the land. Kind of like how Ocho Cinco changed his name legally. It's Daniel living off the land Lowry. Wild story. But these are actually native Windows binaries. So they will be in, you could go to Best Buy right now, buy a brand new Windows laptop, and it will have these apps on them. And you can see, doink, cert util is right here, and you can use it for downloading, encoding, decoding, hiding data and data streams. It's a full feature to be weaponized, and that's what's going on. And by the way, this is a signed utility from Windows, Microsoft, excuse me. So it's not going to flag. So this is living off the land in practice. And what you would need to include as part of your payload, okay? I mean, not your payload. I literally just got buffer overflowed in my mind because I read that word payload. Part of your threat hunting, TTPs or IOC or indicators of compromise, okay? It does say that you would need to already possess network creds, which is not wicked hard to do. Let's see. Ooh. Well, hello. Hold on one second. I guess it is Valentine's Day. If you're watching on the video, you saw it, but I turned my light off and rubbed my hands together. We are looking at an infographic. It looks like process flow. Okay, so let's just walk through this really quickly. Yeah. Okay. So Daniel Lowry, thank you. Hold on one second. If you are trying to do the Linux side, GTFO bins is the Linux side. Thank you, Daniel Lowry, always delivering value to the community, of course. So you've got both of these options. I'll drop a link in chat. Here we go. This is the Windows one. This is the Linux one. So choose your own adventure. All right. Let's get back to this fine looking infographic. All right. So first of all, I'm already annoyed because like it doesn't like a true process flow diagram really should indicate where it starts. Oh my God, it is true.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
Okay, so path loader executable. So you got to get someone to run an executable first off the rip. So there you go. Your EDR can catch this. Your end users can be educated not to click on dumb stuff.
Cool!
It connects to a C2 server and pulls down shell code using that cert util. And then it starts communicating with the implant via the Graph API. Shell code's executing through a dynamic link library. Where's the actual impact here? The malware process is here. It's doing C2 traffic through a named pipe. That's the alternate data stream. And now this thing on the far right with the gears is basically choose your own adventure. You could pass the hash to get access to resources. You got to run PowerShell, and you can do network enumeration basically to move laterally through the environment. I'll leave it to you here. There's definitely some clear indicators of compromise you can go threat hunting on. Again, this is attacking South American foreign ministries. So the chances that your publishing company in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina gets hit is probably low, but something to point out. What I do want to point out as bonus material is the attacking of the Graph API. Now, if you did not know, whoops, hold on, I'm in the wrong window. If you did not know, let me do this bonus material really quickly. This guy, hold on, this guy right here, besides being the 2024 Deadwood Wild West Hackenfest Magic the Gathering champion, he's also quite the accomplished practitioner. Bo Bullock over at Black Hills Information Security. The guy's a super cool dude, and he is wicked knowledgeable. But one of the things he recently did was develop this. Oh God, I have a sticker on my canteen. He developed a unbelievably cool Graph API tool. Someone help me with the name of it. I'm forgetting it right now. I don't even know where it is. Is it Graph Hunter? I think it's Graph Hunter, maybe. Bo Bullock. It's something you need to know about. Graph Runner, excuse me. Graph Runner. So if you're looking to understand Graph API and get into post-exploitation of M365 frameworks, well, my friends, actually, what a donkey. Literally the first link on Google is my video. I guess I do have a video for that. Just to let everybody know, sometimes I forget all the content we did. So that's like embarrassing. I feel like such a donkey. Oh my God.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Okay, so if you're interested in understanding Graph API and how to attack it and how to defend it, and this tool that Bo has made available, go watch this and check out Graph Runner. You won't be disappointed. Hold on one second.
Zax possibly suffers another data breach. This breach supposedly happened in June of 2024, with the threat actor releasing data last month, January. Zax is a US-based investment research company, and the threat actors behind this breach claim to have access to the data of 12 million accounts. The leaked database has already been added to Have I Been Pwned. However, Troy Hunt and his organization state that 93% of the email addresses mentioned in this most recent haul were already in the Have I Been Pwned database from previous breaches, including those not affiliated with Zax. Bleeping Computer also notes that, quote, there is the possibility of threat actors scraping the information from other services and compiling a database with user information associated with Zax, end quote.
Okay. Financial company gets hit. Bunch of users are compromised. I don't know if this is going to have any, long-term impact to Zacks investment. I've never heard of them, but 12 million people have. Guys, the value here is that hackers would take this information. If it were me, this is not Threat Actor Academy. I'm just saying, if it were me, and guys, by the way, I'm kind of a dummy, right? So like if I'm coming up with this, the threat actors are coming up with it. I would take this data, put it in a spreadsheet, sort by value of account, and look at the top 25 people. That's where all the cashish is, right?
Straight cash, homie.
And then I would basically target my attacks at that. So you can go spear fishing, big game hunting. I'm with CyberCycle. I also thought it was Zaxby's, the chicken fast food restaurant that's big in the South. I had Zaxby's not too long ago. A lot of salt at Zaxby's, I got to point out really quickly. So if you're averse to salt, watch out. All right. Let's see. How did the hack happen? So in January, data was released. And basically the threat actor is selling it for crypto. Quick little aside really quick. You see this avatar here that the user is using? It looks like an anime character. I don't know why. Obviously, I'm old and gray and millennial or zennial, actually. So I don't know why, but that particular anime, again, anyone can put any avatar. But I will say that I feel like only real legit hackers use that one. And I feel like if you're not legit and you use it, you'll get made fun of by the other hackers in the community. So when you see that, that's like a sign of like legitimacy. Let's see. Threat actor got interviewed by Bleeping Computer. So that's interesting. So the actual criminal got interviewed. They gained access to the company's AD as a domain admin. Oh, God. Okay, so let me give you something here. Two things you can do. Number one, Have I Been Pwned is a great resource to share with your end users where they can put in their own information, their own email address, and basically see if they've been hacked or not, right? So that's a great little easy way for you to communicate to people and let them know this tool's out there. All they got to do is put in their email address and see. So that's nice. The other thing I want to point out, and this is more for practitioners, okay? I see this all the time too. And if you feel me, either because you're actually doing this in your own environment and you're like, better, but you don't say anything, or you've uncovered this as part of your efforts to clean up stuff. I feel like a lot of people are going to be seen right now. The threat actor was able to get domain admin credentials, which is basically like God mode, right? Like you basically have a game genie if you have domain admin creds. Now, what I want to tell you is, for most things, like in real practice, in most instances, you do not need domain admin privileges. Domain admin privileges are used for like doing domain schema changes and stuff, which is not something you do all the time. Like you don't need domain admin oftentimes level permission. Okay. But what happens is, because it's a group, what happens is it's so easy to just add people to domain admin. IT, usually what happens is it starts off as a small business or a mid-sized business, and this guy's got to do all these things. This lady's got so much different responsibilities. Domain admin, domain admin, domain admin. And what ends up happening is, as you mature and grow, you never clean it up. And then, you got 45 people with domain admin, right? Like, let's do this. Right? This is it right here. You get a domain admin. You get a domain admin, right? So just as a really quick thing, like an audit, go into AD, look at the domain admin group, and look how many users are in the domain admin. And heaven forbid you go in there and you find a group inside domain admin, so you can like nest groups, and then like anyone in the group gets it's bananas. So for the threat actor to get domain admin, sure, it's possible this Zacks investment company had 3 domain admins and they were wicked secure and no one really logged into them. But in reality, they probably had like a huge attack surface of domain admins. And it's seriously, another thing that like is worth pointing out. This is one of those things where you may encounter a lot of pushback from IT about removing domain admin access, right? Oh no, we need it. It's like, do you need it though? Do you? Carl, do you need to log in with domain admin and then go about your day? I see here that you're, going on the internet and checking Facebook, checking email, logged in as domain admin. Is that something that we want to do, Carl?
Carl!
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
All right. I mean, it's just a common thing. Just like everybody's Active Directory is a dumpster fire, just like every business has like a bunch of abandoned SharePoint sites. I'm telling you, it's just reality. Most groups that haven't looked in and cleaned it up will have kind of a gross domain admin situation.
Astaroth phishing kit bypasses 2FA with reverse proxy techniques. A new phishing tool called Astaroth, that is spelled Astaroth, has surfaced on cybercrime platforms and features advanced techniques to bypass two-factor authentication. First advertised in January of this year, Astaroth uses session hijacking and real-time credential interception to compromise accounts on Gmail, Yahoo, Office 365, and other platforms. Researchers at /Next...
Hold on one second. I'm trying to hold on one second. I'm sending an email. Okay. Astaroth phishing kit. Dude, 2FA is not a bulletproof, a silver bullet, excuse me, okay? Just FYI. I've never heard of Astaroth. I was sending an email, so grant me some grace. Emmett 185. Yeah, I'm originally from just outside Boston. My podcast host from Boston. Okay, let's see. It's a kit so people can just get it, right? Session hijack and real-time creds. And they can get all the big ones here. Really, I mean, Yahoo. I mean, it's cute that they included Yahoo, but like, let's be real. In 2025, Office 365 and Google are really the workspaces that businesses are using. Watch out, your GeoCities might get taken over. So an Evil Jinx style or Evil Genix, how do you guys say it? Is Evil Jinx reverse proxy placing itself? So this is like a man in the middle attack, which obviously if you're in the middle, you're able to steal stuff. Let's see how it differentiates. It's part of a phishing kit. And this is the deal. Man in the middle, reverse proxy to mimic legitimate sites. Here's the thing, like when you're in the middle, I guess let me do this as like a lesson learned or whatever. When you're in the middle, the victim doesn't really know, and you can pass the legitimate website back to them. When you set up a phishing landing page that looks like a legit landing page, you've taken the victim to a different website, like a different domain, different everything, and you're tricking them in a social engineering capacity to fall for it, trusting because the site looks familiar. With a man in the middle or adversary in the middle attack, they're literally taking your creds and passing them to the legitimate site and authenticating and then passing it back to you, and all the while like copying it themselves. It'd be no different than you getting up from your desk, threat actor sitting at your keyboard, and then you're standing behind them and you're like, hey, my username is Jerry, my password is winter 2025. And they're like, okay, like typing it in. Like that's kind of metaphorically what's happening. This one looks pretty nasty, right? Real-time session cookie capture, sure, of course. They have phishing domains. I guess they are using a phishing landing page. Not all of them have to do that. Some will be like directly in between. But this one, they're actually using HTTPS to make the domain look more legitimate and secure. Guys, dude, with Let's Encrypt, Okay. Oh my God. What are we doing here, Casually Joseph? With Let's Encrypt, this is a free, nonprofit CA providing TLS certs, right? So anyone can have an HTTPS very easily. So it almost comes into more of a question of like, does the threat actor want to put in the effort to add that extra level of complexity to their workflow in order to have more victims fall for it? So that's all it is. There's a bunch of information here on how this attack works. This actually looks like a really interesting story. And if you're interested in 2FA bypasses and how phishing kits work, definitely here, check that story out. I just dropped a link in chat.
Or that it operates via an evil Jinx style reverse proxy, that is spelled EVILGINX, positioning itself between users and legitimate login pages to capture usernames, passwords, 2FA tokens, and session cookies. Unlike traditional phishing kits that struggle to bypass 2FA, Astaroth intercepts authentication tokens in real time, allowing attackers to hijack active sessions before security measures can respond. Cybersecurity expert Jason Sirocco warns that this approach renders 2FA ineffective, as attackers can instantly assume control of compromised accounts.
All right, so that there was actually more to the story I didn't realize. I do want to point out really quickly that it seems that, part of the problem is it's bulletproof hosted. So of course, but this is wild. This is just, remember we talked earlier about specializations and how threat actors are getting, initial access brokers are doing their job and a threat actor doesn't do the whole kill chain anymore. Look at this one. This phishing kit, you can get support. You can pay for 6 months of like IT support effectively for $2,000. Right? So like, hey, this phishing kit, I'm like really into committing crime, but like, I'm kind of a busy dude. I would love to get some support. I just need to commit crime and not worry about management of my criminal tools. No worries. I've got a guy for that. $2,000 over on Telegram. So like, this is like what's going on at this point. It's insane. Law enforcement's having a tough time.
Regulators! Mount up!
But just know, guys, like because of the anonymity and pieces like that, law enforcement's definitely got sock puppet accounts getting up in here. And Daniel Lowry, just a fine, like the more you know, little teaser here for us before we move into jaw jacking. Daniel Lowry is saying, let's encrypt the site that allows basically anyone to get a TLS cert for their website. You have to let the site cook for a little bit to avoid a bad rep with security services. So basically, if you see an email come in and it's got a link to a domain and the domain is like an hour old, that should come off. That should like alarm bells should be going off, Winston, right? You've got a half naked girl and a bag of fertilizer. It's a problem. Okay. And that's a reference to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, by the way, if you're interested on this Valentine's Day. All right, guys. I got news for everybody. It's that time. Oh my God. It's so good. Hey, just a reminder before we move into jaw jacking, next Tuesday, we're starting a whole new series, a monthly series, Lunch and Learn. Bring your lunch and leave with a new skill. Risk management and NIST CSF. We're going to be going through that with Steve McMichael, instructor over at SC Academy. 1 hour, practical skills. We'll do it once a month. I hope you can join us for the initial launch of this new programming. I'm super pumped. Guys, I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the living crap out of this episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. Remember, don't go anywhere because every single Friday, actually every single day, at 9 a.m. Eastern, we do jaw jacking, and Fridays are special because we get an entire panel of experts up in here. Quick shout out too, I want to remind everybody, if you are a practitioner, and you want to be part of the panel, just reach out to me. We've had some people mention that there's, heavy representation of males, right? I'm totally down for female representation or really anyone who wants to get up here and help share knowledge and help people level up their skills. So don't be shy. Ping me if you want. We'd love to have you on jaw jacking. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber, episode 814. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get you answers in just a hot minute. Let's go. Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking. All right, what's up, friends? How are you? Welcome to the party. We're not going to mince words. I'm going to switch my camera angle because we're about to bring on some heavy hitters in the industry. You guys know all of them. I always give them kind of a walk-on song like it's a baseball game, more of a minor league game. So in between innings, we'll have the mascots run the bases. Guys, you know him as DJ Bisek behind the glass, but he actually has worked in the industry for like 1,000 years. And he's part of the reason that we listen to Color Me Bad, I Want to Sex You Up to open the Valentine's Day episode. Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Bisek.
Yeah, Jerry and I were having fun before.
Love it. Okay, our next panelist to get us going here, he's a regular on the Jawjacking panel on Fridays. He's got his own channel where he's mentoring the living crap out of people. I'm a big fan of him. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him, Fleetus Poston. How you doing, Fleetus?
Good morning.
Oh, he's a wizard.
All right, and he's rocking the Antisyphon clothes. Now, check it out, guys. We've got one more panelist today until we add more throughout the show. He hasn't been on Jawjacking panel before, so this is a surprise and a real treat. Many of you know him from coming on Simply Cyber Firesides and talking about level effect. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is super cool and totally aligns with Simply Cyber's core values. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Bendis.
What's going on, everyone? Morning.
Look at this guy. I love the look. I love it. Dude, you are straight up like Wolfman on the radio waves coming in.
Yeah, I mean, the hair's kind of going a little wild, too. I got to get this cut sometime soon.
I love it.
Hair length. But good to see everyone. Thanks for having me.
So, yeah, of course. So, hey, here's the deal, y'all. Just go ahead. If you have a question for anyone on the panel, put a Q and ask the question, and I will facilitate as best I can. Now, Fleetus is kind of SOC hiring manager, SOC space. DJ Bisek is more network engineering, technical, moving towards CISO. Anthony has done a million things. Anthony, what would you say, just so the people who didn't attend that one talk could know about you?
A little background summary, yeah. So I started off originally in the GRC space, actually, if you can call it that. I was originally in hotel luxury management, senior risk kind of operations position, which got me pivoted over to GRC. So first love, GRC, that's kind of why I rep it so much. But I did that for a little bit before moving into an analyst and then engineer type of position. And then I started moving over back to the IT space in systems management for a couple of the hotels out here in Canada. And then I started consulting because I really wanted to get into pen testing at the time. So I started doing a lot of consulting. This is the really fast, super fast summarized version. But yeah, I was pen testing for a number of years as well, too, before moving over and founding Level Effect with a bunch of the other guys over there. So short summary, but bit of a varied background over there as well, too.
Yeah, no, that's great. And we're actually seeing some people in chat say that they have they're in the middle of Level Effect and really enjoying that. So no, it's awesome. It's great to have you. Anthony, why does GRC get such a bad rap?
I think it's misunderstood because GRC is sort of like the hall monitor role. You know, it's the sash you walked around, remember that back from school, and you tell people what to do and what they couldn't do. And people don't really respond naturally to authoritarian types of positions. It's like a natural gut feeling like, no, don't tell me what to do. So I think that's why, personally. And then you kind of ease into it and people start to understand more about why, and then people start to appreciate you. But that's what I said.
I love it. All right. So I don't see any questions in here right now. So I'm gonna ask some questions and kind of get some thoughts. You've just received an email from your boss, and it says, "Hey, love what you're doing here. 2025, we're gonna fully fund hotel, food, travel, and registration to a security conference this year. Your choice, Fleetus. Which one you going to, and why?"
I'm actually going to Blackout Asia or EMEA. I'm just going to go to London. I want to get out of the U.S. and see a conference outside of the U.S.
Interesting. So is that for the travel element so you can see the region, or you want the conference itself?
Both. I want to meet practitioners who are global. I've met a lot of the U.S., not trying to toot. Like, I've met a lot of us here in the U.S., so I'd like to see practitioners outside. And yes, to be able to stay a couple extra days and just travel on someone else's dime.
There you go. That's a great angle. Way to hack the system there. Anthony, what about you?
I actually also want to say Black Hat Asia. I think there's a lot of interesting talks that happen over there as well too, and they get into different types of lessons as well. There's just a different environment, different types of content. Same like Fleeta, so different practitioners. I think there's a bit of a vibe going on in the U.S. side of things that's a little consistent and the same. I'd like to check something out, and Japan's pretty cool, and so is Singapore if I can get over there, so I can kind of do both same time. So I'm just going to throw that out there as well.
That's interesting. So yeah, if you're in the chat from Black Hat Asia, we've got people who are interested in submitting for CFP here. DJ BSEC, same question, and then we got some questions dumping into chat, so we're going to be able to get to those.
I'm going to Wild West Hacking Fest.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love Wild West Hacking Fest. Also, I want to share a really cool concept because James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet was like literally there this week. Cruise Con. So like there's a cyber conference that takes place on a cruise ship. So you get the cruise shipping experience. It looks like DJ BSEC is it's like me and sour cream as far as DJ BSEC and cruise ships apparently. Vile. All right, let's get into it.
Funny story, I gave James grief. I got the ads to attend the cruise con and I thought it was a scam. Until I looked at the audience, I really thought it was a scam to get me to pay $3,000 to join a boat, get stuck on a sales pitches for the entire week until I actually saw the audience. There was a very strong lineup who spoke at that conference.
I don't know. You know what? Thinking about it, I wouldn't mind going to where James went like a couple weeks ago. He was in Ireland or Scotland or somewhere. I wouldn't mind going there.
Yeah, he's been all over the place. He said he was in the desert, in the mountains, and on the ocean at some point here in the last couple of days. Cyberlorian says how to stand out if you would like to move from corporate SOC to an MSP SOC, specifically in an area of intelligence and research. Anthony Bendes is our newest panel member. You get the ball here.
First dibs on this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. You want to move from Corp SOC. So Corp SOC is going to be really process heavy procedure. So a lot of just kind of being like a cog, kind of doing your SOPs, your playbooks, runbooks, kind of just doing your thing. If you want to get to an MSP, I think you need to branch out a little bit. And if it's more specifically in intel and research, then I think you need to be able to start demonstrating that skill set and going and preparing some portfolio work. Maybe do some threat intel analysis on maybe a recent attack, a type of malware or attack patterns that a binary might take once it's executed on an endpoint. I think if you can do that and produce some intelligence and then say, here's some detection rules you can write from this based on the attack patterns, I think that's going to impress an MSP because you need to be really dynamic and on the fly and wear multiple hats. So that's my take.
Fleetus, what do you got?
So to add on to that, if you're going into the MSP, you're going to quickly need to pivot out of whatever ISAC you've been part of. So if you've been in retail or finance, you're going to quickly need to pick up whatever that MSP is focusing on. If they're regional, national, global, and understand the threat landscape for them. So like we already joked and kind of pivoted, what happens in the US is not what happens in Asia. What happens in Europe is slightly different. So being able to quickly realize that the threat intel feed you're going to get will be different. So you just have to know that piece if you're switching from a corporate, because a corporate's only going to care about their constituents and wherever they do business. MSP is going to need to have a blanket across the globe potentially.
There you go. Next question coming in, and very specific, so we will want to approach this one delicately. As a beginner, what's your thoughts on the two tech ed platforms, CompTIA and EC Council? So I will say the following. Okay, I didn't even know CompTIA. I mean, they do the certifications. I didn't know that they had like an ed tech delivery mechanism. But CompTIA's Sec Plus cert is kind of seen as like an entry level almost requirement. Like HR is looking for it. Their other certs are fine, but like to me, you don't really need them. CYSA Plus is probably the next one that gets some market value. Net Plus, A Plus, I would skip getting the certs, but I would get the knowledge that comes from that. As far as EC Council goes, I will just say personally, I do not use EC Council. If I see someone with their certs on their resume, I don't judge negatively. It's fine. You go for that. If you go back and look at, if you just Google like EC Council and I guess lack of attribution for other people's work, you might get some stories that come up. That personally bothers me. So for those reasons, I would probably not want to personally be involved with them. Anybody else have any other thoughts they want, or should we push on this one?
EC Council push.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's all I want to say. All right, here we go. Medine or Marcus G says, how do you guys feel about the GovTech space, and what are your tips to break into that part of cyber? So I have worked in that space. Anthony, have you worked in that space?
I have not, no.
Okay, Fleet, is
The
anyone
other guys do, but yeah, go ahead.
besides me? Okay.
No.
All right, well, I guess I'll take this one.
Somebody call Jax.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Scott will be at Zero Trust World also next week, FYI. So in the GovTech space, here's the deal. Government, this is specific to federal U.S. government, okay? I've worked in this space. It doesn't move very quickly, especially outside of the DoD. The DoD moves a little bit faster because there's military soldiers involved typically, and the officers, they just want to move and get crap done. In the kind of like the civilian side, like, VA or National Science Foundation or these type department, IRS and stuff, there's a lot of bureaucracy, and there's a lot of steps, and there's a lot of formality. And because of that, things move slow, and it can be really, really frustrating as a practitioner wanting to get stuff done. Plus, people can hide behind certain policy statements around not wanting to do things, or, yeah, I'd love to help you, but we can't do that unless I get like 8 different approvals, and good luck getting those approvals. So like, I'll see you later. So that's my thing. If you want to break into that space, what I would say is the number one tip you can do is there is a ton of professional services contracts working into the government, right? Booz Allen Hamilton, I worked for 6 years at. Great area of opportunity. Deloitte, Accenture, SAIC, SRC, Capgemini. There's a ton, right? Look for, if you want, go to the DC metro area, and like, you'll get, I mean, there's tons of
And step out into the street.
Right, exactly. Just hold your hand out, and like, yeah, like a GovTech space job will come in.
Here's a question. It kind of falls back to the one we were talking about a minute ago with EC Council and CompTIA. Since CompTIA was bought by a PE firm, I think they were bought by a PE firm, how do you think that's going to affect all of the CompTIA stuff with DoD? And is CompTIA going to go down, and is the DoD going to be looking for something else now?
So I can give some thoughts on that. Every training organization is trying to get DoD status. And I'm watching more and more courses get written specifically for gov contracts. So I think if CompTIA doesn't play nice, yes, they'll lose some of their DoD classifications, but the PE firm doesn't want to lose that. So again, straight cash. They're going to go after who they can. They're going to keep the business because other training organizations that I have affiliations with, I've watched them add more and more classes specifically just to get more DoD contracts to keep their business afloat.
Yeah, because like for DoD, Sec Plus is like the gold standard right now. So I that's why I asked that question. I wonder what would happen with CompTIA and their firm that took them over the buyout if that does kind of fall flat. But like you said, Fleetus, when it comes to a PE firm, it's all about the bottom penny, man. They don't care about the dollar. They want every single penny in there. So I can't see them trying to get rid of it but that doesn't mean that they're not going to push more marketing to try and get, make more money and not just be in the DoD platform. Like become an actual gold standard across.
The quality may go down. They're going to just pump instructors in front of people as quick as possible who may not be qualified to teach it just to keep classes running.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie.
Anthony Bendez, we've got a very specific question for you.
Oh yeah.
Is that a chainsaw?
Man, yes, it is. That is not only that's not a chainsaw. That is the chainsaw. That is Ash's chainsaw from Evil Dead: Army of Darkness, if you're familiar. So that is what you slay all the Deadites with. Just so you know, if anyone's tracking with that.
I love it. I love that movie. That's such a classic. Especially, not to mention, obviously, Anthony is kind of team Zennial. I would assume he's got the Princess Bride shirt on right now. Yeah, there it is.
It was like, my name is Inigo Montoya.
You keep using that word. It's right.
I don't think you know what that means.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. And Anthony, you probably didn't catch it, but it is Valentine's Day. We opened with Color Me Bad to start the show this morning. I want to you up, throwing it back. So it's all about good.
I like the throwbacks, the way back playbacks happening on this stream. I appreciate this age bracket for sure.
I love it. Hey, I just want to remind everybody really quickly, Daniel Lowry is in chat right now. And the reason that I want to bring that up is because if you like the help and everything, and do not tab shame me right now, anybody. Daniel Lowry will be going live at 10 a.m. like he goes every Friday for Cybercast IRL, which just continues the train of community and helping people level up and get the support they need within our cybersecurity industry. Anthony Bendez, let me throw a Carrie question at you. He's trying to get into IT. He thinks he wants to get into healthcare. He's got some Linux knowledge. What would you suggest he does since he doesn't have paid experience?
Look, if you want to get into healthcare, it's all about HIPAA. So you better start getting acquainted with the healthcare standards and what's necessary, what needs to be protected. And so that's step one. Step two, start getting used to working with legacy technology that you have to get creative with. So old embedded, old Linux kernels and things that are out of date that you have to get creative with to maintain support, which means there are no security updates. So what do you do when you can't update things with patches and everything to mitigate vulnerabilities? Well, you have to start thinking about like proxies and things that you can protect and mitigate through the wire. So your networking is going to have to be another strong point as well too. If you can do those three things, I think you're going to impress someone in healthcare.
There you go. Banger of an answer. Thank you, Anthony Bendez.
Yeah.
All right. For Fleetus, I mean, itching to learn, calling Fleetus out, like not out, but like calling him up to the podium. Got a gig in tech support, man. He wants to work in the SOC. He's doing everything he can to build those skills. How does he bridge the gap of this role?
So we've talked about this numerous times, and I'll talk about it again. The entry-level SOC, especially if it's tiered, is what you're doing already. You're just doing it from a different lens. You're already running your playbooks. You already have knowledge articles. Just start asking the right questions, paying attention to the help desk tickets that come in. Not to plug too much, but I did a good talk with Simply GRC this week around some of this. I've put out there just being able to translate in some of my shorts recently. When you're the tech service or the help desk, how do you recognize that the security event has started? So be the one who's calling it out, be security focused, be able to escalate, know your role in the event of an incident, and be able to play to it. So talk through that, and then mentor, network, go get to know the SOC people, go to lunch with them, ask for a job shadow if possible. Just continue to get comfortable working along the security team.
100%. And just so everybody knows, he said Simply GRC, it was a misstep. It's Study GRC. This was a video done with Chris Whitlock and the Study GRC crew just yesterday. I'll drop a link to this video. So like literally, this is the video that Fleetus is talking about. So go scoop that up or add it to your watch later playlist, because the value train does not stop. It's like Snowpiercer. It's just hauling boot. Right. Okay, there we go. All right. Feel it. All right. Again, now I'm not even pre-screening these. Feeding off the question about tech ed and certs besides CompTIA and yours, Jerry. All right. What other platforms in cert would be beneficial getting into CS or bettering yourself while in CS? I'll let Anthony Bendez talk about this. I think he might know about a platform that's worth mentioning.
I think I know one, actually. Yeah, there's one. I think it starts with level, and I think it ends in effect. Sorry, just a little shameless plug out there. But yeah, look, if you want to get some training, we've got training taking you from the beginning of Windows, like literally here's a start menu, all the way to triaging tier 1 and 2 SOC tickets and detection engineering, which is also out now as well too. That's a shameless plug. For us, I think another one, though, if you're thinking about like the computer science side, CS, AppySec is another really good one as well, too. I'm going to throw a little shout out to those guys. They have some really good content as well, too.
All right. And
guys,
I haven't used it myself, but I have heard like so much good stuff about K7. So if anyone is looking for another, option, K7, Haircut Fish is in chat. He's done K7 stuff. It's apparently quite good. Fleetus, you want to offer one up, and then BSEC?
Yeah, I was going to offer up K7.
Sorry.
No, it's perfect that you called it out. That's another one that's good. TCM has been putting out some killer content recently. A lot of it's free or low cost, no cost, depending on if you're cloud centric. Plural Insights and Cyberia have put out some decent cloud specific security classes, especially if you're Microsoft specific or AWS shops. They've got some decent stuff out there that will help you understand the cloud side of your CS.
All right, there it is. Anthony, Haircut Fish wants to know what minis are you painting?
I think y'all want a little tour of the little Warhammer setup with back. Yeah. So what's going on back there now? I got some Tomb Kings I'm cooking up, and then I'm gonna be moving over to Empire and Dwarves, Old World all the way because I grew up with Fantasy Battle. 40K is pretty good too, Space Wolves player. But yeah, just sharing that as well to all those.
Awesome. I love it. Haircut Fish always asks great, like not like, like what video game are you playing or what book you're reading. DJ Bisek is dunking on me by asking me if I have more tabs open on my computer or my phone. Anthony, this was a Tidbits Tuesday 2 weeks ago where I shared with everybody that I don't close the apps on my phone and it drives my wife nuts. Apparently, it's a very divisive topic. There's no right answer, but there is a right answer.
Oh, there is.
Do you close the apps on your phone or do you just let it run YOLO?
YOLO.
See, thank you.
YOLO. Yeah, I that's probably not the right answer, but come on, man. Like, just YOLO. Never close them. When the phone starts to die, I might close a couple.
There you go. I mean,
When
there's one
battery life goes away, all of a sudden all the apps are getting closed.
Exactly. There's an answer for that.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time
That's the
for that.
one. Yeah.
All right. Jazzy Jazz wants to know private sector SOC versus Gov SOC. Anthony, can you, based on your experience and what you've heard?
Yeah. Look, I mean, so I work more in the private sector myself. Greg and Rob, the other co-founders over here, Level Fact, they're the DoD Gov guys. So I've got enough information I've sort of gleaned over the years, but from the SOC MSP that I've worked in, I talked a little bit about that in the other question earlier, right? Very dynamic, multiple hats, trial by fire, always learning new things. There's never documentation for anything, so just get ready for that. As much as we try on the private side, it's just moving too fast, right? GovSoc, though, like I said, a little bit different. It's you're that cog, you're that specialist in that area to get really good on your SOPs, your processes. You need to be relied upon to do a specific thing or several things very well, very often. So it's really kind of like a chain of working together in that way. So very, very different environment. More experience in private sector, less experience in Gov, unless you're the DoD, which then you'll be experienced like nation state threats and other types of threat actors as well attacking you. So, yeah.
All right, there it goes. Thank you.
Additionally, generally, you have more tiered SOCs in government, and you have tier lists in private. So you'll have specific to that cog mentality. You'll have a specific tier 1 who's only going to do email, only going to do endpoint, only going to do triage for this, and then they'll escalate to a tier 2 or a tier 3 or directly to the IR team if it's not your tier 3.
Yep, great points. Yep.
There was a question in here a moment ago. What happened to all the help desk roles? I'm not sure if that's a fair question or not. I mean, are you guys seeing in your spaces that there's no help desk or support desk?
There are. Okay, so there was a link I was actually looking at yesterday. I think Fleeta. Wait, no, I got another tab up and I showed you talking on my screen. Sorry, my bad. But there was there you go, all those tabs open. I was trying to click through. Indeed released the report on all the jobs open from help desk and operations from 2020, 2025. I'm going to try to track it down and bring it up for you to take a look at. But you can see the spike. It goes up, obviously, during COVID and everything, and it comes back down, but it's still trending quite high. There are still quite a bit of help desk and IT operations jobs. I need to find that. I'll look for that inside.
I would assume it went way up during COVID because everybody was at home.
Yeah,
so
it
did. You needed those call-in.
Yeah, I would say that most of the companies now are dual rolling them. So they're making local IT and a help desk. So they're bringing them on site to do the local IT folks versus having a dedicated local IT or hardware guy or gal.
That's what we did. That's exactly what we did.
Finding those roles so they look like they're shrinking. They're just retitling them to like a software or IT specialist versus a help desk or a tech service. You're just seeing title changes because they're changing the scope of the role.
Or you're seeing, instead of help desk, you'll see like desktop support, which is basically, in the olden days, we had help desk where you sat on the phone all day.
Yeah.
And then you had desktop support where the guys that actually went to the desk. Now those are becoming a combined job.
Here we go, Anthony. Speak to this, please.
Yeah, so that's the one kind of. Look at all those tabs. You're worse than me. Nice.
Don't judge. That's just one browser.
That's just one. Yeah.
Yeah, just one.
Jerry has 256 gigs of RAM to run Chrome.
I mean, that's the only way. Just download more RAM.
I just pulled something in my back. Yeah.
Yeah, take a look at the trend, right? So boom, like kind of just exploded over there. 2022. That's why we like to say like 2021 to 2023-ish was the time you could grab a Sec Plus and you could get a cybersecurity job or an IT job kind of thing. Like it didn't mean you were ready, but I've said that before. It's just people were hiring like crazy. And then later on, it kind of dips, right? And goes back to sort of like a normalcy. But there are still a good amount of open jobs.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that those jobs went away.
Yeah.
So while those jobs were there, that still means that they're there. Those people are still doing the job, possibly.
Yeah.
James Randolph. Was all the help desk jobs because people didn't know how to use Zoom, like Carl?
Absolutely.
That's so funny. All right. How has all the recent tech layoffs affected the job space? Are you seeing anything, Fleetus, around, the job space? I know you're hiring and involved in hiring and firing and stuff.
So the problem here is it's not making sense. A lot of organizations are, okay, let me phrase it. I'll back up on it. It's making sense because they did a lot of hiring during the COVID time. They hired a lot of people. They felt like they were going to grow, and then things plateaued or didn't recover as quickly. Now there's just companies who are massively just cutting entire teams. Like I have several friends, I've seen several orgs that I've worked with. They just get rid of the entire externally facing security teams. For whatever reason, they're just deciding, or they bring a new chief operating officer and a new CIO, CISO, and he or she's like, oh, I want to bring my own team. So they're just like slicing. They're cutting for just the sake of cutting, knowing that the market is saturated and they can go to the market for cheaper labor, or they can go out and negotiate harder because more people are looking for jobs than jobs that are open.
Love it. And also, someone had mentioned AI was going to take over tier
Everything?
1 support. Well, tier 1 support. Let's not get too doom and gloomy. But Fleetus, you've said this in the channel before that like SOC tier 1 is kind of like help desk, right? Can you qualify that a little bit? And then
Sure.
Anthony afterwards, if you have another point to make.
Anthony and I have talked about this one, and I'm pretty sure we probably agree. It's a run book style. Like a help desk has, when the caller says this is what I start with. Well, your SOC also does the same thing. This is the first tool I open. This is the first place I look. This is the first capture I make. And then you notate it. It's all about documentation. Then tier 1 and help desk. You've got to make sure that you put notes so that if you do have to escalate, or you have a peer review, or when you get audited, either in your help desk or your SOC role, you have evidence to say, I justified that this is the reason I called this a false positive for the SOC analyst. This is the reason I'm able to close the ticket for the help desk analyst. So really, they blur very quickly because you have knowledge articles, you have run books, playbooks, you have your SOPs, your standard op procedures, then you have your method of procedures, your MOPs. So all of those play into both roles. We may not use the same lexicon in help desk, but it's really an equivalent. You're just looking at cyber systems versus looking at the enterprise systems when it comes into SOC.
Awesome. All right, this is perfect. All right, hey, let's just take a quick pause here. Couple quick things. One, I have to drop, but DJ BSEC behind the glass is going to slide from the B-hole chair into the A-hole chair, as it were. And we're also going to be delighted by a Gen Z, a Skibbity Ohio Riz toilet.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as Cashmere, but we call him Casually Joseph around here. How you doing, Casually Joseph?
I'm doing good. I'm here to throw a wrench in the age dynamic that Anthony was enjoying.
Nice.
I love it.
Right.
All right, guys. And just a reminder, we're going to go to 10 a.m. and at 10, if we want, we're going to try to raid Daniel Lowry's IRL stream. So Daniel's in chat right now. Looking forward to that, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. And I leave you in the very capable soft hands of DJ BSEC.
Soft hands.
Soft hands.
Ooh.
How do you know my hands are soft?
Yeah.
You're using too much lotion over there.
Before we
Is
move
it Valentine's Day kind of?
Oh my God. This guy.
So before we move on, I want to go back to one thing about the AI that I would love to get everyone's opinion because I have a strong one and we'll see how it plays with the rest of you. Chatbots are taking over for level 1. Like if I can learn your knowledge articles, I can look at your old tickets, I can do level 1 triage real quickly with a chatbot or AI. Because,
As long as you have that knowledge base built.
and that's where I think is the biggest thing is that's where you see a lot of like that entry level. And same thing with SOAR, if you want to look at it from a SOC point of view. If I can automate your task, I'm going to automate your task. So there may not be a need for as many tier 1 help desk or tier 1 SOC because of chatbots and SOAR platforms. So that's security orchestration, automation, and response platforms.
I could see that on down the line, but like I said, you've got to get that knowledge base built that it's going to read off of.
Yeah, I mean, chatbots are bad. They give $1 airline tickets and they sell cars for $10. It happens. Like We've got to take the proper precautions, but I
Yeah.
see a lot of people going that route. Just chat with me. Just work with an AI automated system who's going to answer your question, and then you can just say representative, just like you would when you called tech support or service desk in the past.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the chatbot talk, I think everybody's tired of it because there's so much when you actually get on, just like when you get on the phone and you have to hit 15 different numbers to actually get to the operator, you just pound 0 forever. I think when it comes to the chatbot, a lot of people are just like, I just want to talk to somebody. So I think for us, it's a good thing because we can kind of try and automate, but for the end user, they just want to talk to somebody and get somebody on the phone to be able to get it done.
So you say that.
That doesn't mean that we're not going to get to the point to where we actually can use it.
So if you say that, I had to argue with an automated person the other day to get a real person, because that person that I got on the phone was still an automated person. And I kept asking it, do you like chocolate, to see if it could figure out what it would do. And it finally just hung up the call because I confused the automated bot, because I kept asking it questions that it didn't have in its script and it didn't know what to do. And I kept asking it.
Well, and that's the crux of everything, right? Is you're sitting on the phone in those scenarios, you're sitting there and you're on the phone for 10 minutes screaming at the thing, trying to get somebody, and then it hangs up on you and you got to start all over. That's why it puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, because just like any technology, when we implement it, it kind of sucks to start with, but as it gets built correctly and built up, then it's better and better, but people still have the bad taste in their mouth from the beginning.
Agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think also, I think the writing's on the wall. I think we're gonna get there, and I think we should. I think we should start moving ahead, right? Like, we need to start getting some preventative. We can't keep putting out fires all day with firefighters, right? Like, we got to start moving these analysts ahead to more preventative tiers. And I think as long as the procedures are in place, if a tier 1 analyst just runs a run book anyway, if a well-trained AI model can do that with like a 90 to 95% accuracy, I'd argue that might even be better than some initial tier 1 analysts, which is what we want. Like, we need to move the people along to some higher roles.
Yeah, that I 100% agree with.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people in these jobs that become lazy. Hey, we're done. I'm not going to move up. I'm getting my $70,000-$80,000 or whatever it is, and I'm not gonna. I'm satisfied. You should never be satisfied. You should always be learning. That's me.
I've talked to quite a few people recently over the course of a couple different conferences, and it seems like the tier list hierarchy of SOC is becoming more normal, where everybody's kind of expected to have the same abilities or at least similar abilities, and you only really escalate for major events. So seeing that AI come into play for that level 1 triage is not surprising.
And Jason Eystone, I just saw him put it in chat. He said, also, chatbots don't call in sick.
So true.
That's true.
So,
they don't take holidays.
Yeah, don't take holidays. They're there.
Yeah.
But I mean, first line of defense, you get something there. This is a good one. It says, is it a good thing to say that a CISO would come in and they just want to bring their own team? This isn't like a soccer team. I think for me, the thing is when a new person comes in, when new management comes in, they don't necessarily know everybody there. They don't necessarily trust everybody there. And somebody coming in at a CISO level is being told that they need to get it done now. And they're trying to find out what they want to do is they want to bring in a team that they know is going to be able to hit the ground running. And they don't necessarily know what they can and can't trust. If they're being brought in, more than likely something has happened before and the old one was gone and the new guy's coming in. So he's got to come in and fix everything, so to say. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think that goes the comment I made earlier. They're not bringing in their entire individual contributors. They're bringing in like a middle manager who they know can do the job. They may bring in a tech lead or a senior practitioner if they really need that skill set. But most of the time, the CISO is bringing in a director that they've worked with, or they're bringing in a forensics person that they know can get the job if they're being hired because it's a post breach and the last CISO was let go and they're recovering. So they may bring in someone to do a lay of the land, threat hunt, forensics analysis of the company. That's what I meant by that comment earlier. And I see it more often. They want one right-hand man or gal that they recognize, that they can trust, so that they can focus on managing up and across versus managing down.
Yeah. Let's see if we got anything else.
Someone asked, how do you recognize if it's an AI? I just ask random questions. I can learn real quickly. If I can trick a bot, I can't trick a human. The human will eventually answer the personal question. Like I asked them, do you like vanilla ice cream, or do you like chocolate ice cream, or what's your pet's name? Like you ask something like a social engineering to a bot, it will give up and it will just go click. I do that for phone calls. I literally answer the call. Thank you for calling. May I ask who's calling, please? Like I act like I'm a business, and those robocalls go click.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how nothing gets said back when you say that on the phone.
I just like saying what to bots over and over again until it just errors out.
Yeah. Mess with the training data.
It's not hard to figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's see. What type of domain access would you give an infrastructure team without giving them domain admin access? That I'll let y'all answer this. That's an easy answer.
So most of the time, it's just in time. You give them just in time access, or you give them multiple accounts. You have your daily driver, which is your local area network. You give them a privilege account, which is their -A or -admin. And then even better, you give them their -DC account, because that's your privileged account. So you can have, sadly, I worked in a very large company. I had like 6 accounts at one point. I don't recommend having 6 different accounts. It's not fun having 6 different accounts, but I had accounts that allowed me in controlled spaces, non-controlled places, in corporate environments, non-corporate environments. My daily driver to surf the web, my email, etc. And then I had my Glassbrick account where I could go anywhere I wanted to. But as soon as I activated and logged in with that account, my entire team knew I logged into that was monitored like God mode. As soon as I hit enter on that password, or I pushed that through a command line, my team knew I activated it.
Yeah. That's basically what I was going to recommend, is just have multiple accounts and then put monitoring on the privileged accounts.
Mm-hmm. And it's easy to do now, especially with RBAC. Just set up roles and add people to the specific role, add an account to that specific role. And like Fleet has said, you have your quote unquote daily driver. So you are just like every other user in the company. You have the same access with that account. And then if you need to create a new user or something, you may have like an elevated to a help desk level where you can create a user or so forth. But then if you need something even higher than that, you'll get a higher level.
The other thing too, and we don't talk about it as much, but there's privileged access workstations too, where that workstation's allowed to do things where your corporate workstation is not. So some companies use jump boxes to go into them, some that physically give you a physical PAW, a privileged access workstation. Others, you're logging into the cloud to do your privileged access workstation. So that CIDR block that you logged into is allowed to go touch it, but your corporate IP is not. So that's where you get into your networking pieces and you segment. If you're in this zone, you can go there. If you're not in this zone, you cannot go there. So it doesn't matter about privilege. It's now you're giving the identity to the machine, not to the user.
Yep. This is a good, I guess, quote that automating a lot of tier 1 responsibilities can help alleviate burnout, because everybody deals with burnout, and then people are able to move up to tier 2 or higher and leave the industry. And I mean, in all reality, that's what everybody's looking to do, is get that in and then be able to move up, because everybody's all about that money. Everybody wants to make the money.
It's just a bunch of noise too, right? Like that initial tier, like it's just like, oh, okay. It's not like the most complex stuff. You're just triaging and, like you said, following the procedure.
Well, and if you truly think about what the way that this was all set up before, is you had tier 1, and tier 1 was usually like the front line of defense, or the first one to take a phone call. Yeah. Tier 1 wasn't necessarily out there doing all of the main work. They were the person that picked up the phone, input the ticket. They were basically data entry clerks for the most part. Fill out the ticket, set it all up, and if they could follow a script to, get somebody to actually open up Word or PowerPoint or whatnot, then they did that and close it. Otherwise, it was shot off to the quote unquote tier 2 people that did basically the minimum level work, and then it went up higher depending on what it was. So, we don't have a lot of questions today. Well, we got about 15 minutes left before we roll over and go into Daniel's. Did they put that in there? Yeah, I did. Let's see. Anybody else got any questions? Anything on any top of mind questions?
Yeah, good time to shoot something over. Anyone in chat?
I dropped Anthony's link that he provided in chat earlier, and I'm probably going to drop it again closer to the end of this stream. Did you want to go ahead and tell people what that was about?
Yeah.
Oh, this level effect.
Thanks, man. Yeah, good call out there. So we got a stream actually happening at 1 today, 1 p.m. Eastern, with Jonathan Johnson, one of our new instructors on the team. He's actually going to be talking about a new course he's cooking up. You might know him. He used to teach Spectre Ops as well, too. He's over at Huntress, principal as well, too, on the Windows research side. Really experienced guy. So he's part of our team now of instructors, and we're going to bring him on, and I'm going to talk to him, and we're going to talk all about what he's cooking up. He's making a new course on SOC 200 level content and up, all DFIR, all that good DFIR stuff, digging into the forensic side, and alert classification, how to respond to it better, what we're looking for, directional analysis as well, too. So doing that at 1 until 2:30 p.m. Eastern today. So it'd be great if you guys want to hop on. You guys too. If you guys got time today, all three of you, come on board and hang out.
Let's say there it is.
Oh, wait a minute. What's that? That looks like our newsletter. Hold on a second here.
Did you drop the wrong one?
I might have. Yeah, hold on.
Too many tabs. This is what happens.
That's the one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I think it's posted here.
It's going to be on our Twitch channel, so you can hop on the event link. Let me see where it is. Shit, let me grab you the proper link. What's going on?
I thought it was this right here, wasn't it?
Let's take a look at our.
Or maybe events. This is table of contents. This is the whole.
Oh, here we go. Okay, let me grab this one. Okay, how do you share these things on LinkedIn? Share, copy, link. Okay. Here, let me put that inside a chat. That's the actual event link. Okay, so go ahead and put that up.
All right, let's grab that one.
That looks like our newsletter. Sorry about that.
It was an accident to get people to sign up.
Well played. Well played.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the one. Johnny.
Click here. Click now. Join me.
Go
click this. Click that.
I'm going to spam you. Let's go.
I'm just trying to be like Jerry and open 40 different tabs. So
yeah, I can get about 10 before my fans kick on.
Before your fans kick on?
Yeah, the little laptop that can't.
You're running a laptop?
Yeah.
Bearded Ruckus, I would not win an arm wrestling match with any of these people on this call. So I don't know why.
I don't know if we did left arm, you might tear my shoulder off. I had that one replaced.
You're a wizard too, man. You could just cast plus strength and
well.
Okay.
Advantage on all strength checks.
All right, DePayne saying, what skills outside of cybersecurity skills would be beneficial to everyone to know other than Linux?
Cloud.
I got a feeling where I know everybody's going to go with this.
Cloud and AI.
That's not where I thought y'all were going to go with it.
I said communication.
Yeah, I was going to say personal skills.
Soft skill. Yep.
Soft skills.
Documentation. Also another great one.
Time management too.
No documentation. Man, Tyler Ramsey's all about that documentation.
Writing things sucks, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
And so this whole time we've talked about help desk, we've talked about tier 1, we've talked about tier 2. We're bringing what other skills. Everybody has to work on soft skills. Mm-hmm. If you don't have soft skills, you're either going to be the person that's never talking to anybody, and all you're going to be is a technician in the back. Maybe you level up, maybe you don't. You've got to have the soft skills to be able to level up, especially if you're going to go higher up into management. You have to have soft skills. 100%.
Yep.
We already saw that one. Who would win in a arm wrestling? I give it to Joseph.
Why is it?
He's like 18 feet tall, so we'll give it to Joseph.
I got the leverage. It's not even strength. It's just leverage.
It's just leverage.
Crank it.
What is it? Archimedes lever? Is that what the theory is?
Speaking of leverage, how do you leverage cyber certs to get IT support help desk job? Kind of gone over this morning multiple times. Certifications aren't going to leverage a job.
Yeah, it's one piece.
I don't know how you guys feel about it. For me, certifications are great. They're great for you individually to get and to say that yes, I leveled up myself.
Mm-hmm.
With the ATS systems and stuff, you put stuff on there and that gets you in, but certifications in themselves don't necessarily mean you know how to do the job. It means you know the books. you're able to answer the questions. It doesn't mean you know how to do the job. And I can't remember. I saw something a couple of days ago where somebody was talking about this, like, hey, you can go past all these certifications, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can walk on to the job day one and do the job. And that's what people are looking for.
So I think I've shared that story before. I hired like the highest level Microsoft cert. Someone held that. They could come in and spout Microsoft, but could they do hands-on keyboard? No. They could do it from an academic point of view. They had never deployed and maintained a Microsoft environment before. So like just because you know it is fine. What I will say, the way you can leverage your certs is storytelling. Use your certs to tell a story. This is why I got the cert. This is what I learned from the cert. This is how I applied the knowledge I got from the cert. The application is what's important about your certifications when you're trying to land a job. So be able to tell a story.
Yeah. I agree. I've always used certs. I view them the same way I look at formal education, where it is basically just structured learning. It gives you a set of domains and a path that they expect you to learn before you take the test. And you can basically see what someone who is hiring is, say they want the CYSA. That means that they want you to have the skills that are on the CYSA, not necessarily that they want you to have the CYSA, but they expect you to be able to triage alerts. They expect you to be able to perform threat hunting. And if you may not have the certification, but if you outline that you have these skills and you have proof of how you've done it somehow via labs or videos or write-ups, whatever it may be, then it probably weighs just the same. I mean, obviously, if you're doing a cold application, and the ATS might filter you out for not having the certification, but you just look at the domains and you perform extra work from there. That's how I've always done it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To me, when it comes to this stuff, it's like Fleet has said, there's nothing worse than being a manager to hire somebody that has all these credentials, and then they sit down to do their job and they look at you and go, what do I do? It's like you have all these credentials, but you haven't ever put your hands on the keyboard. So now you've got years and years worth of certifications, but now I have to sit with you and teach you how to do your job when you're supposed to understand and know what's going on. So
yeah, I also want to throw a bit of a maybe a controversial hot take answer to that one. I would say you shouldn't. I would say unless you have the experience, I would say maybe don't apply immediately to the job with just a certification. If that's all you have at this point in time, just maybe use that certificate to ease the friction of getting practical experience by going through labs because you know all the terms and definitions. But maybe hold off until you can have a little bit of, and you can experience yourself. That's what a home lab is for. So get the cert, build up your home lab, do some volunteer work, help your IT team at your company, do some other things first, and then I would say apply both.
I would piggyback off of that and say you could do that, but then if you actually do get an interview, then you need to preface it with like, hey, I just got this certification. I actually haven't had hands-on labs or haven't done this. I'm just showing you that the certification shows that I've got the book knowledge, I've got the interest. Now I'm looking to figure out some way somehow to get the hands-on experience, and maybe this job will help me. Something like that.
Yeah, be honest. Yeah.
One other nugget before we move on: instead of listing the cert, unless you need to, just say you have a working knowledge of the domains of the cert somewhere in your resume, and put the working knowledge. Especially if you haven't applied them professionally or paid, make sure that you can just talk to them. So I tell people on resume building, it's okay to have a working knowledge section. I have a working knowledge of Debian Linux. I have a working knowledge of PowerShell. I have a working knowledge of Splunk. Because I know when I ask you questions, that's as deep as I can go. I'll push your knowledge. But if you say you're an intermediate or an advanced, I'm going to try to stump you, or at least push that knowledge to see how much, because you called yourself an intermediate or an advanced person. So be careful using those adjectives.
To piggyback off what Felicia just said, I actually had interviewed a guy that put on his resume that he dealt with network solutions and routers and switches and so forth, and that was on his resume. Then when he actually got in, come to find out, he was literally the runner. So he took the devices and then racked them and stacked them. He didn't actually do any of the configuration. So when it came to asking questions about network stuff, he knew nothing about it. But he put on his resume that he had worked. I had worked with that. That's going a little overboard. Working with it and actually just all you're doing is, racking and stacking is different. All right, we got one more probably before we have time, and I put it in here. Where's it at? It was a good one. I missed it. There it is. For everybody, what was your most challenging event you encountered as a cybersecurity professional? I'll go last.
I'll start. Because those who know me, I focus on human-centric security, so it was dealing with a disgruntled insider. Because it's harder than any physical or cyber event I've ever tackled. It's the insider wanting to deny everything and having to go through HR and prove having to provide evidence after evidence after evidence to prove that they were an insider. And that's just painstaking. Unlike a ransomware attack or a drive-by, it's not hard to produce evidence to respond to that one. But when you're dealing with a human and you know the person and you're having to do an investigation on that person, it's not fun. It drains you real quickly and it's painful. And you don't recover well from insider threats.
Yeah, and those are hard to find until somebody says something, because when it comes to insider, you're not necessarily sitting there looking at it. And DLP sucks to tell you that, hey, they move 50 files. They move 50 files every day.
Yeah, DLP does nothing.
Yeah. What you got, Joseph?
I'll try and keep it limited, but I had to deal with a CSAM case when I was doing help desk activities. And it was it just got very touchy for a moment there. So I think when it starts to get ethical and when it starts to get into the point where you get law enforcement involved on somebody that is either a client or that works with you, it gets a little iffy.
That'd be tough. Anthony, you got anything?
Yeah. Not like yours, Joseph, but also kind of related to something sensitive, right? I was on what was a normal ticket. That's what I thought it was at first, until it was discovered that it was actually related to a foreign actor targeting a law firm. And then the intelligence agency showed up and had to interview me. They showed up just knocking on the door. That all of a sudden, I don't even know how it was tracked, but it was discovered that I was working on this case. They had consulted my management and said, yep, that was that's why I found out afterwards, right? And so I was brought into a room and I had to go and just start speaking to agents about everything that I discovered on this breach. And this was early on in when I first started working on more of the technical side. So that was really challenging, because I think it was eye-opening and realizing to me just how serious this stuff can actually be. And I was not prepared at all for that. I was very overconfident at that point in my career. So I think that was my most challenging moment. The rest of it seems very procedural, honestly, beyond that.
I don't think anybody's prepared when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had one, I'll run through two real quick. I had one where I came in the morning and I had basically just looking through firewall logs, and basically it was just, for the lack of a better term, porn, constant. And it was the overnight guy, right? So it was constant, and I had to go, all right, here's the logs, and manager, hey, this is what happened overnight. You're going to have to deal with it. And he's like, well, can you go through and find everything? I'm like, I don't want to spend 8 hours going through logs to tell you exactly what he was looking at, where he was, pictures and so forth. Look, I'm just telling you this happened.
I don't need to know his taste.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I had that, and then
Can I add one thing to that too before you go on real quick? That's another thing about our job. Images we see are grained in our minds.
God, they get
If
burned in
you've
your
ever
head.
worked some of these cases where you're looking at, we'll just call it inappropriate stuff, it sticks with you for your entire career.
Not safe for work.
It's just not fun, and you can't control when those pop in. You lay your head down the pillow at night, and all of a sudden you see an image from the day at work. It's not fun to tell your partner that's it's just it sticks with you.
The crazy thing is, when people get hired, they're told, hey, everything you do on this machine can be seen, right? Everything that's done. Yeah. So when it's at a workplace setting, and then people are putting things in chats, and it's ridiculous what people do at work. And it's just, people don't know. If you haven't been on the backside watching this stuff or having to deal with it, you'd be flabbergasted as to what people do on a work computer. It's crazy. The second one that I had is we actually did have I had to work an incident where a ransomware incident, and that was fun. That took a week to do. That was over and done with. Basically, we got the company back up within 24 hours. They were running, but then after that, we had to deal with all the fallout and the diver and everything. But
that's quick.
I think that's the thing, hey, is like it's the aftermath. Like all the things that we just talked about, all four of us, right? I think it's what comes after. It's the chain of custody, the investigation, the logs, going through it and making sure that you didn't miss a beat. It's just like a constant anxiety that entire time. Like, oh my God, did I get everything? So
like the letdown after it all. You're just like,
boom.
Oh, can I take a week off for doing all this? So, all right, we're at 9 o'clock. Daniel is running. Let me throw this into chat. Everybody can bounce over and go watch Daniel Lowry's stream. He should be up. Maybe he'll have OBS working today, or maybe he won't. Maybe we'll be on the phone and hear him screaming left and right. But that was it. Everybody, last words, Fleetus?
Just like we said, be cautious what you do in your workstation. It's not fun having to tell people that you showed up in a data breach from an adult site that's been leaked, and we have your company email assigned to it.
Joseph?
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, and see you Monday on Learn to Defend Cyber, and take it easy.
Nice.
Anthony, anything? Last?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun. I got to come with more of these. These are really enjoyable. But come see Level Fact over here at 1 Eastern today. Come hang out.
Did we throw that in chat?
I threw it in chat.
Threw multiple.
Alongside. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to just start putting links in there. Everybody just start clicking on those links.
Click. Yeah. One of them's a crypto miner. Just disregard it. That's mine.
Yeah. If JMod put something in there, it's probably a crypto miner. All right. With all that said, everybody, thanks for hanging out today. Friday. What is today? Oh, today's the 14th, Valentine's Day. Friday, the 14th. Everybody bounce over to go see Daniel Lowry. His stream has started. We will see everybody Monday morning at, I was about to say 7, at 8 a.m. Eastern time on the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. See you guys.
Have a good one.
There we go.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.